Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today we are sitting down to talk about the 22 books that I have to read in 2022. Now, as you guys know, my reading shelves are very full of books that need to be read, and a lot of these books on this list have been sitting on my shelves for far too long. So I'm issuing myself the challenge that if these books have not been read by the end of 2022, I have to unhaul them. Some of these books I've had on my shelves for up to 5 years, if maybe not longer. It's too long. They need to go. They need to go if they're not read. And I know that I'm really gonna love a lot of these, so that's why I'm like, you just need to do it. You need to rip off the band-aid and it needs to get done. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the 22 books that I'm planning to read in 2022. Okay. First off, we've seen this in many a TBR video. I'm not even gonna dwell on this for very long. The classic that is the bane of my existence, Frankenstein by, of course, the wonderful Mary Shelley. I have tried to read this book for, I think, the last 4 Octobers, and every year I get a little bit farther, but I have yet to finish it. So yeah, needless to say, I just need to read this. I just need to sit down, I need to read it, and it just needs to happen. So it's not even that long. It's not even that hard of a book to read. I just need to do it. So this is priority number 1. If I successfully manage to finish Frankenstein this October, I'm also planning on diving into Dracula by Bram Stoker. This is a much chunkier book, but it's one of those that feels like it just needs to be read. I need to have said that I've read the classics, and I haven't. So we're putting this one on the list as well. Wish me luck. I'm hoping that it happens. We'll see. Okay, one that I have actually already read successfully, check it off of the list, is Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. This, of course, is being turned into a movie that recently came out that I still need to watch. But I actually read this, fun enough, in Egypt. If you guys haven't seen that vlog of me going and running around Egypt for a week, it's on my channel, so be sure to check it out. But this was really fun to read while I was actually there visiting some of the sites mentioned in the book. So that was really, really cool and really, really fun to read. This one is about a death on the Nile and of course, classic Agatha Christie murder mystery. So I won't get too into this. I'll discuss this in my wrap up. But yeah, I really enjoyed this and thought it was a good time. Okay. So speaking of books that I've had for probably almost 5 or 6 years that have just been sitting on my shelves is Replica by Lauren Oliver. This, of course, is a book where it's 2 different versions, 2 girls, 2 stories, one epic novel. So you have Gemma's version and then you flip it over and you have Lyra's version. So I really like Lauren Oliver's books. What was the series? There was a series about love that she came out with back in high school, I think, and it was super popular, and I read it back in the day and loved it. So she's really popular. She hasn't really come out with anything too incredible from what I know in the last few years. If that's different, let me know. But yeah, again, this is one that's just sat on my shelves. I need to get to it. I need to read it, and yeah, needs to happen. Okay, next, another older release, of course, that is very popular is Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. This, again, I've heard great things about, and I know Francesca Zappia is coming out with a new book this year, kind of along the same vein as Eliza and Her Monsters. I think that has illustrations and things like that. So before I read that, I'm really trying to prioritize the books that I already have on my shelves from authors that I'd like to read. So this is, of course, about a girl who makes an online webcomic, and then she becomes friends with this guy who's her biggest fan, and he doesn't realize who she is. So I just think it sounds super cute. I think it just looks like it'll be such a good time. Everyone that I know that has read this has loved it, so it needs to get done. Yet another popular booktube book. Can you tell I'm making my way through the all the books that ever need to be read recommended by booktubers? Yeah. So this is, of course, Circe by Madeline Miller. This is, of course, a retelling of Circe, a Greek god story. super crazy popular on BookTube, on Book Talk, all of the book places, and I just really need to know what the hype is about. It's not that long, it's not that big, but it's well beloved, and there's not really much more that it, needs to be said about it, but yeah, it's happening. Okay. Let's talk about this for a second. So this is, of course, the Sarah J. Maas book that is like the book if you're going to start with a Sarah J. Maas, from what I understand, which is, of course, A Court of Thorn and Roses in the original paperback covers before they got their redesign, which is not my favorite. But this is, of course, probably one of, if not the top 3, if not top 5 books most talked about on the internet. And I need to know what it's about, because I feel like I'll really enjoy it, or I'll really hate it, like with Cassidy Clare books. But yeah, this of course is, I believe, a Beauty and the Beast retelling, from what I can remember. Again, I really kind of want to go into these books with as little knowledge as possible, just so that way I'm not like swayed by the masses, but I really kind of want to know like what the deal with this is. So the hype has finally suckered me in. I want to know. I'm hoping I love it. I hope that it's great, and it's gonna happen. Okay, it's a couple nonfiction. Let's talk about that for a second. Cannibalism by Bill Shoot. I saw this years ago at this point now, probably 3 or 4 years ago, on Book Outlet, and was very intrigued. If you guys don't know, I have a weird thing about buying nonfiction books on really weird topics. It's why I love Mary Roach books. So this is obviously about the bizarre phenomenon of cannibalism. Obviously is a taboo subject in our culture. It's mostly displayed through horror movies and tabloids. So in Cannibalism, zoologist Bill Schutz sets the record straight, debunking common myths and investigating our new understanding of cannibalism's role in biology, anthropology, and history. If that doesn't sound interesting and intriguing, I really don't know what to tell you. So yeah, this is my one random nonfiction for the year, I think. Yes, so I'm excited. I think it's going to be really fascinating, and I'm very intrigued. My next nonfiction is, of course, a very popular one, and this is, of course, The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up by Mark Manson. I'm very intrigued by this, and this is a very interesting concept that I would love to adapt in my life in 2022. I feel like The Subtle Art of Not Giving any, flips is something that I am very much trying to adopt in my own life. So I feel like reading a book on how to do just that is going to do wonderful things for me, hopefully. We'll see. Okay, 2 more nonfiction that I realized I didn't include are The Powerful Purpose of Introverts by Holly Girth. This is, of course, speaking to the power of introverts and the fact that introverts make up half the population. So I'm very pro-introvert mentality. I think the concept of introverts is very intriguing to me. I myself am more of an introverted person, but yeah, I love the concept of reading more and learning more about this, so that's why I wanted to pick this one up. Next, and my other nonfiction, and then I think we're done with the nonfiction, is Finding God's Life for My Will by Mike Donahue, who's from 10th Avenue North, if you know that band. It's a Christian band. And this, again, just kind of is talking about, from what I understand, his obsession with wanting to know God's specific plans for his life. I'm very intrigued by this and think it'll be really cute. Again, just kind of wanting to understand more about where I'm at in life. I'm in a very transitional phase of my life. I'm excited to see what this is all about. All right, 2 more books. The other classic that I'm trying to get to this year is Wind in the Willow by Kenneth Graham. This is a book I read with my dad and my brother way back in the day and really just thought it was such a fun book about the escapades of Toad and the things he gets himself up to. And this, of course, has beautiful illustrations in it, so I'm excited to read this beautiful edition and think it'll just be a really good time. The other one is, again, one I've had on my shelves for forever. I got this actually in a book trade like forever ago. This is The Gender Game by Bella Forrest, and it's about a world in which a toxic river divides 19-year-old Violet Bates' world by gender. Women rule the East, men rule the West. That sounds intriguing, and it's a whole series. I'm really excited to check this out. I don't even remember how I found out about this series, but I'm very intrigued by it and think it's going to be really fun. Okay, let's talk about some fiction books. Starting off the top, again, need to read these or they're gone. These are probably two books that are going to hurt my soul. This is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, which is about a world in which you basically find out when you're going to die, and these two boys end up meeting within 24 hours of when they get that message. So I think it's going to be sad. I think it's going to hurt my soul, and I'm ready for it. And I think it's going to be really good. This one is one that I've had for a very long time and just can't seem to part ways with it. But this is about a girl named Lex whose brother commits suicide. And I think it's about a ghost, or there's like a text that she gets from her brother or something like that. So I'm really intrigued by this. I think it's going to be really, really sad. It's by Cynthia Hand, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to be hurt by this. Speaking of being hurt by books, The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X. R. Pan, who is also coming out with a new release this year that I'm very excited about, but I am refusing to let myself read that or buy it until I read this one. And I think it's coming out next month, so I need to get on this. But this is, of course, about a girl whose mother, a girl named Lee Sanders, who thinks her mother, when she commits suicide, gets turned into a bird. And I think just her dealing with the grief and the passing of her mother, I think it's going to be beautiful. I've heard nothing but incredible things about this, and I need to know what's going on so I can be on board. Gladiators. So this is Valiant by Leslie Livingston. This is another one, can I say it any louder, that I've had for forever. This is again about, like I said, a girl who becomes a gladiator, trained by none other than Julius Caesar, or owned a training school for female gladiators owned by none other than Julius Caesar. So this should be interesting. I have all 3 books in the series. I really, 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 really want to finish it this year. I feel like I'm going to have a little bit of trouble suspending my disbelief, only because I recently went to the Colosseum and learned some history about the gladiators, so I'll be interested to see how historically accurate this is. However, that being said, I think it's going to be good. Female gladiators kicking butt, taking names. I'm excited for it. Let's talk about a more recent release, finally. This is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This is the beautiful UK cover that I picked up while I was in Europe, and I'm very excited about this. So this is about a girl who makes a deal with the Prince of Hearts, and in exchange for his help, he asks for 3 kisses given at the time and place of his choosing. So she's bargaining with an immortal. It's a whole thing, and yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a really cute, really good fantasy story. Okay, 4 more. We're going to run through these pretty quick. I have 2 middle grade that I want to get to that are pretty well-known classics. This is, of course, The Life of Pi by Jan Martel. This is, of course, a super popular, famous book in terms of classics about a boy who gets trapped in a boat with a tiger in the water for, like, I think at least a couple of months. But yeah, I'm really excited about this. I have seen the movie. I do know the ending of this, but I do want to read the book and see kind of what it's all about, so definitely high on the priority list for sure. And then the other one is A Tale of Despero by Kate D'Amelio, who wrote the author of Because of Winn-Dixie, which I read in elementary school and loved. And this is about a mouse, a princess, and a rat. And I remember the scene, there was like a movie that came out about this like years ago, and I remember loving it. So I've picked this up, I've had it for a while, thought it'd be good to get to. Okay, and the last two books on this list are two fantasy novels. The first is the ever classic Wizard of Oz series. I wanted to read this series last year, just didn't get a chance to get around to it, but I do really want to read at least a couple of the books in this series this year. Wizard of Oz, it's a classic. I think this will be a really fun one to read, and yeah, something I will definitely enjoy. And the last one that I want to read to finish out my Grishaverse series reading is King of Scars and the sequel, which is called Rule of Wolves, which is of course Nikolai's series by Leigh Bardugo. I'm very intrigued by this. I hope that it has a very like Six of Crows type of vibe is what I'm hoping, because I definitely like that series a little bit more than the Grishaverse series. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this and get into both of these, and I think they're going to be a really good time. Alright guys, that is all of the 22 books I'm trying to read in 2022. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Are there any you guys want me to prioritize? Things you think I should be reading to add to this list? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to see more of my face, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!